Hey, how's it going? It's the Redeye Stream number 134. Article 13, the end of the internet as we know it. Maybe. I mean, I live in America, so it won't really affect me, but it affect people across the pond like good old Voice here. By the way, we got Voice of One, Tema, MC, and Kitty here with us today. How are you guys doing?
Hello. Glad to see everybody here. Happy to be streaming inside my house instead of my bug-filled garage.
Well, yeah, you said you got attacked by spiders and no superpowers. What? You don't live near a power plant?
No, I live in Oregon.
Oh.
I'm so sorry. Oh, I am so pissed about that transit tax. Like, I lost my shit when I was watching KZI the other night. I threw my remote at the TV and turned it off.
I'm really glad I don't have cable because I'd probably go crazy if I watched local news.
But no, let's talk about Article 13. And let me pull up the story here. All right. The end of all that's good and pure about the internet. This comes from Gizmodo. The link is in the description. I did that this time. Yay.
Yay.
We regret to inform you that the internet is on red alert once again. On Wednesday, the EU's legislative committee vowed to adopt sweeping measures that would upend the web in every way that we know it. Memes, news, Wikipedia, art, privacy, and the creative side of fandom are all at risk of being destroyed or kneecapped. By the time Americans woke up on Wednesday, the committee had voted on the final form of the EU Copyright Directive, the first major update to the European copyright law since 2001. Much of what's in the legislation has been met with approval, but Article 11 and Article 13 are considered disastrous by the foremost tech experts in the world. Explaining what, and I'll just finish this last paragraph and then we'll start discussing it a little bit and maybe read some more. Explaining what's wrong with these 2 points of the legislation in detail is difficult because the articles themselves are so vague. That's the primary issue for critics. Both articles make unprecedented demands on anyone operating a popular website to monitor copyrighted material and to pay fees to news organizations when linking out their articles. Defenders of the plan say the critics are exaggerating because of assumptions they're making about how the legislation will be implemented. Critics, like one of the fathers of the internet, not Al Gore, guys, no, Vint Cerf, like CERF. Fuck if I know how to say that. Wide Web, once again, not Al Gore, Tim Berners-Lee, say the risk outweigh the benefits. Who are you going to believe? Let's take a look at what's at stake in these new regulations. First, holy shit, linking articles. I believe we talked about this a little bit before, but I never pulled up an actual story about it and got into the details. But like I said, I linked this story in my fucking description. Now I won't be able to do that, or if I do, it'll be banned in the EU, or will they try and charge me money? I'm just a YouTuber with 1,000 subscribers. I can't pay these assholes.
Wait, what? I'm not sure I understand what they're saying they're going to do. I mean, like, are they saying that you can't put a video up, or like you can't respond to an article? Is that what they're saying?
They're saying if you link the article in like your YouTube video or live stream, like we are doing with this one, that you need to pay the news organization for the use of their link.
Okay, no, you can't, because that's not legal. That's you're in America, you can't charge people for that. Even if it's from another country, you can't charge them for it because they're Americans.
Yeah, but the problem is that because they don't.
Sorry, MC, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
They are trying to implement this in the European Union. So I think that for now it would apply to content shared from the European Union within the borders of of the countries that subscribe to it.
Well, what exactly does that mean? Because a good portion of my audience is from the UK. Another fairly sizable portion is from Germany. I mean, I do have people that watch from the EU. Am I going to be banned in their country, or am I going to pay?
No, you will end up getting banned from those countries. That's what will happen.
If you link something that is under protection, maybe your channel will not be available in those countries. I don't know what the repercussions are for people who are in the rest of the world, but from what I got from everything I read is that within the European Union, any audio, video, picture, anything, including the links, cannot be shared because videos, audio clips, and pictures are protected by copyright.
Well, I don't think news articles
are. And the links from news outlets belong to these news outlets, so you would have to have either a permission or pay them to use to link to their piece of news. How it's the repercussion for the rest of the world, I don't know what penalties will incur on the rest of the world. This is unclear.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm not understanding because like the wording isn't even clear enough to like, how are you going to limit people accessing news?
Well, and I think that's the problem is it's so vague. They're telling you, I want this done, but they're not saying how to do it.
They're not even saying what they want done.
Oh, okay. First of all, let's take a look at what they're trying to do, why they're trying to do this.
Yeah, what is the premise? Because at this point, I'm confused.
The whole premise at this point is they're trying to protect the newsmakers who are generating news, all right, by giving them extra revenue, all right, that they can't get on their own by going to, saying, I've got so much traffic on my website, therefore, I can sell advertising. All right, they're still taking it in the shorts. They're not able to generate enough revenue. So this is an attempt for them to say, okay, we'll license your stuff out, and therefore people have to pay you licensing fees if they link to your group or your content. Okay, to try and generate extra revenue. To them, it isn't even. It's hilarious in that by you linking something in one of your videos, by you placing it in the description, you're actually driving more traffic possibly to their site because people are like, okay, well, I want to see whether or not this guy, if he's truly representing this article or not, right? So they'll link on that. They'll check those links now and then, right? So it's actually driving extra traffic to their site, all right, thereby, giving them more revenue anyway, but it's not enough. And the reason that the governments are giving is that these sites are being, their content is being ripped off. But in reality, the background of what they're saying and what they're trying to deny, but this is more true, I think, is they don't like the fact that they're getting called out for fake news. They're trying to protect these entities from being from people saying this guy's lying and here he said this. Here's what the reality was. Those have been very effective to prove that these guys are not being honest about what they're saying in these news articles, and they're trying to protect that, as because let's be honest, most of them are part of the government's the government hegemony when it comes to the mainstream media.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question. Okay. So I buy a newspaper, right, in the 1800s. I go and stand on my little soapbox and I read off the stories and give my commentary on it. What if I did, and I just, do what I'm doing here, but I do it in real life? Not even in the 1800s. What about today, Paris, France? You get a newspaper. Can you go read it out and give your commentary in the public square? If the answer is yes, you have the newspaper in your hand, you're linking them already. Is that the same thing? is that copyright infringement? I mean, because that's what we're talking about here.
Uh,
Intellectual property.
Yeah, but
but
okay,
they are not covering you doing this in real life. What they are trying to cover is putting a claim
internet.
on the internet. You
Yeah,
can
but
get your soapbox and
So-
read the physical paper for now.
yeah, but let's
But
be
my-
real about it. The internet is real life. We are
Yes.
really talking. We are really debating real ideas online. This idea that the internet is fake reality isn't true. So it should be the same in both instances.
Well, okay.
Well, one thing you have to remember is how are they going to enforce it?
That's what I was
because
going to ask.
It's like this. Many people, especially today's, you look at the Washington Post, many other sites, you have to be a paid member to see their content. Therefore, you have bought the rights to that content. Therefore, you can share the link on your YouTube channel. So if YouTube flags that says, listen, you're using the link, you can just turn around and say, well, I am a member, I have paid for this link. You know, so they're going to have to go through, you know, literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of these. They're going to have to review, you know, hundreds of thousands, millions of these things. And the simple fact is, and that's just the main ones. When you start going back down to the smaller channels, they're going to have to, or the smaller services, should I say, the streaming services, they're going to have to do that too. Not to mention that when it comes to memes, like on Twitter and stuff, if you've made that meme, they can't block it. And if you use a small picture inside another picture, they have to find out, well, is that picture inside the picture actually copyrighted by someone or not? So again, there's no logical way they're going to be able to enforce this.
The fonts used on the meme are copyrighted. You will have to design your own fonts.
Yeah, but who owns the fonts? I mean,
Yeah,
I paid
the thing is,
Microsoft
the thing
for
is,
the use of those fonts.
the thing is, voice.
If
Then
you
all
make
they
it
have
to
to do
mainstream.
all they have to do to enforce this is very simple. You got to remember, by the way this is written, it is incumbent upon the YouTuber who's linking, right, to gain all this access. All that they would have to have done is these mainstream sites sit up there and run an algorithm on YouTube channels, just like they do, just like CBS does, that says anything with Star Trek, that for example, it comes up,
Oh,
they
don't
immediately
get me
go
started.
after and hammer it.
Fuck CBS.
You know, that's what they're going to do. They're going to come back under the rules for this. You can't post this, or does this person have access to it? And they're going to say you don't have access to it, or give us X amount of money. They're placing the onus of all of this not on the European Union as a whole, but on the content creators themselves, saying you have to provide proof, you have to do this. And so basically they're gonna come back and say you can't put this on YouTube. They're gonna go to the larger content group like Google and say this guy doesn't have access to it. Take down his videos. It's going to create even more blocking and everything else that's going to be happening out here in YouTube land.
Well, I don't see how they're going to enforce it, because there's literally hundreds of millions of people looking at these things, and
how does CBS enforce it now?
They have people they hire to do it.
No, they use a bot.
Catch everybody. The bot doesn't catch everybody either.
No, well, it doesn't catch everybody, but it catches a lot of them, and they make people's lives miserable.
Well, I think there's going to get a point
but
where it's just they're not going to be able to. It's going to become too many bots looking for too many things. It's going to bog the system down to the point where it doesn't work. There's only so much data space available, and we're about ready to hear that.
And plus, like, you know, we are leaving the fucking EU, so this should only affect us for a short time.
For example, if in case of Voice is using his picture inside it's a laptop, and it says Sony on it. If Sony were a European company, they could copyright Voice's avatar, and also the flag. They can copyright the flag.
No, it's a British flag. It's a national flag. They can't copyright it.
No, but they can say that you cannot use the British flag on your avatar. I don't know.
No,
they
can't. They
No,
can't
they
say
can't.
that.
No, they can't.
No, that's one thing they can't do. It's a national flag. No one owns it.
Well, no, and
That's
I like
just
how
the American flag.
I like how you guys segued right into the memes part of it, because that's going to be the hardest thing to stop. Oh, they're not going to block Twitter for everybody. These memes from America are going to come out. And what's stopping anybody from walking outside and taking a picture and making their own fucking meme? I mean, what, are they going to copyright the UPS van that's in the picture of the meme I'm making, even though I took the picture myself? I mean, how far exactly are they going to go here?
So guys, I heard that I was going to be banned and or killed. This does not make me happy.
Well, you are a dragon, so you're rather immortal. I wouldn't worry about it too much.
I'm not always in dragon form though. So, but yeah, the banning of memes. So, yeah, this doesn't sound good. This sounds like something that a lot of folks are going to push back upon. However, let's entertain the idea for a second. Let's say this were to go through. Then what?
That's what I've been asking. Okay, so you say you can only use news articles if you pay for them. Well, how are you going to prove somebody paid for it or not? You're going to have to get all their personal information. Same as if you have a meme that somebody's generated. They've taken a picture. Well, you can't prove that they didn't generate that picture on their own without going into their personal property and being incredibly invasive. I don't see how it's
going to be hit the most. The funny memes that people are just putting out there are going to be ignored, but where the people are going to get hit the most is in their political speech, because those are the ones that they're going to be looking at. All right, the ones that are effective on a political scale, because then what will happen is the people who are being made fun of, all right, which will be powerful political figures. Let's be or within the powerful political arena at any state. Well, they'll be the ones that come in. They're the ones that are going to go after it.
Yeah, but MC, just name names. Merkel is going to be the one that's pissed. She's the one that wants memes dead. Come on.
What?
Not you.
Merkel.
Oh, you said memes.
She's a meme.
She is a walking meme. She is a walking.
I can tell you exactly what's going to happen the day after if this is passed. You're going to see the internet flooded. If you think there are memes now, wait till if this is passed, you're going to have millions more every day just flooding the system.
That's what I'm saying.
I know I'll be fucking doing it.
Shall they strike us down? We shall arise in a new, powerful form.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is just going to blow up in their face. This is going to be just like the the ban on words.
You got to remember, there are content creators right now that are banned, all right, from different countries.
Yeah.
Six, for example, says that he's banned from Germany. I have no doubt that he is. Tree of Logic is banned from Germany.
Well, no, you want to get banned from Germany? Let's do a talk about Hitler and read a little portion of Mein Kampf tomorrow. We'll get banned from Germany. Lickety split. I mean, that's all it fucking takes. I mean, they literally ban books still there. You cannot buy Mein Kampf anymore in Germany. They had legalized it for a short time and it sold out, and then they made it illegal again. I mean,
not to mention that your channel can get a YouTube community strike for bad behavior because you are spreading a Nazi propaganda.
Well, I'm not reading Mein Kampf right now, but yes, if I was to do that, I'd be banned from
personal time. Yes. But no,
shut up, me.
no. It's all right, man. That's all right. I get you. But no, what I'm saying here is like literally like if all of a sudden this happens and then all like the search aggregates and everything, if they're responsible for collecting money, like couldn't that backfire on them if all of a sudden they're like, all right, we're just not going to prioritize your sites, and other smaller sites that are like, yeah, we don't care about collecting a fee. You can link it for free. could that not lead to a free search function for non-linkable taxes? Thereby, a lot of these different news, older school agencies, if they're charging a high fee for that link, couldn't a lot of folks just be like, I don't want to pay that. I'm just going to prioritize the free things, leading to a lot more lower level growth on the internet?
Or, well, and there's another question, though, real quick, because it popped in my head. Styx had brought it up. What happens to all these archive sites? Styx does not link the actual news site like I do or MC does. Styx links the archive site, so the news company doesn't get the fucking click. So are these archive sites going to be banned from the EU? I mean, that's a valid question, right?
You'll see the rise of the new Napster. Folks will save it, and then they'll peer-to-peer share it.
It happened to me on Twitter. Twitter banned archive.is for a while. Apparently, it's back. But for a while, you couldn't use. So I would take a screenshot of something and type manually using Microsoft Paint the link to the archived version of that screenshot if I wanted to talk about something. Apparently, lots of people were doing this because I am seeing again archive.is on Twitter, but IS on Twitter, but they tried to make it you couldn't tweet and you couldn't even use a link from an archived post in a direct message. They were patrolling the direct messages too.
They rejiggered the protocols, it sounds like.
Well, and look how bad Twitter started working at that point. People couldn't send tweets, you couldn't get tweets, everything was off on people's timelines, they weren't getting notifications correctly. I think they're going to run into a resource issue while they're trying to attempt this newfangled idea of limiting how people communicate, and I think it's going to blow up in their face. They're going to have to walk away from it personally. It seems like this is one of those they haven't thought it through, progressive, regressive, retarded things.
Well, also, what about, citizens of the EU could also buy a VPN, but this article does go on to say that it affects VPNs. So are they going to try and stop that to where you can't protect yourself and use a proxy server? I mean, how far exactly are they going here? Are they going to start banning books next? Or not banning books, but burning books next? I mean, I'm not sure what's going on with the EU.
I think they're cutting off their nose to spite their face. I don't know. I don't see them lasting much longer if they're going to do this kind of regulation. I mean, there's going to be countries that are going to walk away just because they can't. Excuse me. They can't keep up with the regulations as they're going.
Well, let's entertain the idea that this is actually something I kind of thought about before. Let's say I create a video. Let's say I use some copyright work, like a particular song that I have done in the past and more recently. Let's say it's a pain in the ass when they're like, "Oh, you use copyright material, we're striking this down." What if there was an easy way that didn't cost like $2,500 to actually license a song? What if we actually had like a free market or something like that, kind of like the New York Stock Exchange for media? Thereby, if there is quality media out there, rather than having like 20 major news networks paying like 50 grand to use stuff for like a month or however long, what happens if you could spend like $1 and have use of a song for like 6 months in videos and stuff, or pay a very small portion of whatever your revenue you may gain from AdSense or whatever particular linked promotion from that? I mean, I always kind of thought like that'd be a cool system as long as it was affordable.
Well, yeah, but that's the affordable clause.
That wouldn't work in any capacity.
Well, it's not like folks are greedy.
It would be exploited very, very easily.
Well,
yeah.
Keep track of it.
Well, it's a resource allocation issue, isn't it?
I don't even know what we're talking about. What are we talking about?
No,
we're talking about copyright issues in Europe.
Well, you see, the problem here is
and the death of memes.
As MC was saying earlier on, it's not the YouTube and the big companies who want this, because they make money from advertising. So less advertising means less money. The companies doing the advertising don't want this because, again, less views means less money. It is the politicians and the mainstream media. They're the only ones who want this, and it's a way of trying to silence people.
But why? Wait, they're trying to keep people quiet? Why wouldn't they want to hear their constituents?
They don't want people to be open, hear different views. They want to give out one view and want the people to believe that view. They don't want anybody else giving an opposing opinion on a piece of news. They definitely don't want a piece of news completely debunked by someone.
Well, that doesn't sound very progressive voice to not hear new ideas.
I hate to tell you, but modern Germany is exactly like Nazi Germany without the bombs, bullets, and the killing of Jews. I mean, honestly, if you look at if you look at the legalities and what they're doing, what did the Nazis do? They took control of the media. That's what the German government has done. The Nazis censored the people. What are the German government doing? Censoring the people.
Okay. So,
in all those ways, history is repeating itself in Germany. I mean, Germany is the main backer behind the fucking EU army.
Wait, hold on a second. Wait a sec. This brings up a very, it makes me feel uncomfortable, questionable point. Whom owns the copyright to the historical footage from World War II Nazi Germany?
The UN. Actually, nobody does. That's public domain.
Is it?
Yes.
So what you're saying is all those images are free public use for the internet to use for perhaps current.
In America, I don't know how it works in Europe.
Here's the weird thing about that. No, here's the weird thing about that. When I first made my channel, I found a really good site with a bunch of old archive footage. It's all free to use, for everybody. And I did a thing about Timothy Leary. One of his, I don't know, it was like a speech or something like that. And I got a copyright, not a strike, but a claim on it. So a lot of these things that say that they're free for public use, somebody somewhere still owns something because I got nailed with it.
That's really odd because most of this stuff, if it's over like 50 years old, it's generally public domain in America.
Certain things belong to the heirs of the person.
Yeah, actually, it depends on if it was copyrighted or patented. It depends on on how it's done.
What if it was unclaimed? Because this actually brings up another issue. What if there's a bunch of stuff that's in the free domain?
It's unclaimed and people are claiming it now?
It's people who may not necessarily be said claimants. Just because if it's just a random picture, what's to stop anyone from saying, oh, yeah, that was my dad took that. It's on an old Polaroid. I uploaded on another account years ago. And then those are the folks.
This picture is from my grand uncle, and therefore it belongs to me. You cannot use it, even if that person is not your grand uncle. But you claim that it is your grand uncle. He's deceased, so. Wait a second,
Kitty. So what you're saying is, since I am part German as well as Jewish, I could just go online, find a whole bunch of photos, and be like, "Yeah, I think one of my ancestors took this."
That's exactly what I'm saying.
And then no one else could use it, and we could have a bunch of memeable images.
Yes, you claim copyright, say that these people are members of your family, and therefore you either charge people for the usage of of pictures, or you allow people to use them for free because they belong to your family, therefore they are yours, but you will have to copyright them.
Oh, I see. And we have to be fair, Kitty, since we are not sure it was a relative of ours who took the picture. We're simply claiming all the benefits for it. But if somebody truly had evidence to come forward, they could always challenge us in the legal arena by filing a court case, hiring an attorney. And of course, if it was theirs, I mean, that's fine, right?
Yeah.
I see.
Oh, yeah, but they could also sue you for any revenue that may or may not have generated.
Well, we'd still have fun in the meantime, wouldn't we, MC?
You're not alone, Bear Dog. Okay, so what you guys are saying is that anybody can go and say, hey, that's my picture, and I'm going to sue you for the rights to that picture. by just saying, oh yeah, great granddad took that picture, or my great uncle 4 times removed took that picture. We have this thing called evidence, and there's no way to create what you're saying without having evidence. That's why there's so much shit that's floating around that people fight about.
Yeah, but is there any
there?
evidence to refute it? You also have to have evidence to refute it. I mean, or else you stalemate.
No, because if they're making the claim, they have to provide the evidence.
No. I thought of this because Mad Dodge actually brought it up. He used something that was supposed to be free, but he got a copyright hit for it. That made my mind go to the place of, what if some of this stuff is free and someone else is just claiming? Because I think even Styx said there was somebody who had, like, a video came up. They used some copyright music from that work. Somebody, either him or someone else, got hit for that person, even though they weren't the actual originator of said copyright. So folks just might be potentially claiming shit. I mean, that would be wrong, but I'm sure it's never happened before.
You were just looking at it as a job opportunity.
Well, I am a Jew.
Okay, well, I was looking ahead a little bit in this article. Let me read a little bit about Article 13 real quick. This section of
you can.
This section of the directive will completely reconfigure websites' responsibilities when it comes to enforcing copyrights. Until now, the so-called e-commerce directive has given online platforms broad protection from being subject to copyright penalties when they simply acted as a conduit for user uploads. Okay, you know what that tells me? YouTube is even going to go on even more of a fucking warpath. They've already been taking people down, but now they're in the line of fire from the EU directly. So is a bunch of other sites. So, I mean, this is getting worse and worse, guys. Any thoughts on that?
Well, they could always respond with they're just disinclined to acquiesce to the EU's request.
And get sued by the EU for doing so.
You mean by loosening their copyright laws like they
it's more
just
like
did?
Guidelines.
Okay, their copyright guidelines. Didn't YouTube just say they're not going to hit people with copyright strikes like they were before?
Yeah, but now the EU are going to force their hand. I mean, like I said earlier, a large proportion of my audience comes from the UK, which is still, unfortunately voiced, a member of the EU, along with Germany, France. I mean, I'm not going to go open it up and show you the locations right this second because, you know, that's not really valid. But come on, a lot of YouTubers, look at, you know, Lionel Nation, his numbers. How many people watch him from the EU? He talks about news stories. I'm not sure if he links them in the description, but he might.
But if you read aloud a part of a news piece from the internet, it will still be striked as copyright content.
Is that true? I just thought you couldn't share it.
You cannot share it in any way, shape, or form. It's not only visual.
You cannot speak words. I mean, if you can't even quote something at this point, like, why should anyone actually like go to like college or something? Like,
well, no, because they're saying
cite
you
anything.
Provide the link, right?
So you're taxing students now?
And rephrase what they said, or you cannot even mention the name of the news outlet.
I mean, it sounds like a little bit of an oppressive tax on the young people of the European Union, does it not?
It sounds like it's not going to work.
Well,
I think either way, it's just not going to work. It doesn't seem like it's feasible.
Temma, there is a way it could work. China has figured out how to stifle most of the internet coming into its country. The EU could do the same. It could create a bottleneck and it could filter stuff and it could just give you a sanitized version of the fucking internet. It could be a China type situation.
Okay, and in that case, they're going to have to usurp not just European governments. They're going to have to usurp the American government and Israel and a whole lot of other people that provide server space for what happens in Europe. I don't, because China has all their stuff, it's self-contained, so they can fuck with themselves like that. When you're talking about Europe, they are not that good at infrastructure. The EU is terrible at it. So I'm thinking you're going to see a struggle where they just aren't going to be able to achieve what they want here. This is like, the 80-foot tall, 200-foot deep, 280-foot deep wall we were supposed to have,
Wait, what? I thought it was only like 60 feet high, but irregardless.
Hyperbole.
No, exactly. No, I got you. But yeah, it's what
I think you are underestimating the reach of a true authoritarian state.
But couldn't we just build like Internet 2.0 or a
It's called the dark web.
super internet?
It's called the dark web, my friend.
No,
The
like
dark
literally
web.
new connections, and we could
That's
like
called
even
the dark web.
we could use like lasers and stuff.
You will still
Oh,
have
sure, we could
to.
use point-to-point, but-
Who will provide the cables and everything for that to work?
Point to point, you don't need cables.
No, like point to point, like literally what Emma just
Point to
said.
point,
Like
okay.
you could just
Okay.
go like old school antenna, except it's basically a laser transmitter. You can transmit over literally thousands of miles depending on the intensity. Like that's why the New York Stock Exchange and the Chicago Stock Exchange, they're limited by fiber right now, or essentially close to the speed of light. When they're doing all those like instantaneous transactions, the faster the connection, the more money they make. They were literally talking about blasting mountaintops out of the way to have a direct laser connection in order to make more money. Yes, that was something that was considered. I don't believe they actually did that, but with modern technology, there's kind of ways, I don't want to say to subvert it now, but we'll go with creative use of game mechanics.
Okay, or we could just use satellites and telemetry or triangulation.
Or we could just stand up and say, no, sir, we don't like it.
Or and I'm just putting it out here, we could just blow up the fucking EU Parliament. Just saying, it is an option.
All right, so I saw the side conversation here. The dark web isn't an entirely different entity. That
No,
is true.
it's actually the foundation of what our regular internet sits on top of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
but
layer.
you need certain software to access it,
No,
and
you don't.
you need Tor. That is software. You need the Tor browser to access the dark web. I mean, that's
Use a
But
DOS
it's still
box.
okay. So like let's look at it this way. So the ocean takes up like 80% of our planet, right?
Yeah, close to
So
that,
that's
75, 80.
Like that's the dark web.
Wait,
The,
Wait a
the
sec.
actual internet we see is like the continents, and the deep web is the ocean.
so
Okay,
so
but what-
Wolfie, what you're
Well-
saying is we need to move to the beach and use sonar.
real quick.
Fuck yeah.
What I would
Uh,
say is it takes software to access, and they've already been talking about making that software illegal for private citizens to own, because you might go to the Silk Road and buy some fucking
the
marijuana.
Silk Road closed in
You might-
2013.
Okay.
Yeah,
You might get
okay,
some butter knives.
Dude, didn't it open? Don't fuck
Okay,
with me.
but you can access the
I
dark
didn't
web
hear
with
a
a DOS
fucking word you
box.
said, Mad Dog, because whatever.
Yes, you can, but most people don't even understand how to go into it via DOS.
But you don't need software. You can just use your DOS box. So a DOS prompt box. How
Well,
are they going to stop you from using it then?
The one problem with a DOS box is you're not going to see anything from like that's used as HTML scripting or some kind of other
Graphics.
right?
And
Many
actually,
people don't think in numbers and codes. I remember the very first computer our family got. It was a whole bunch of money set up in my dad's office.
Meme
We turned it on,
up.
and it didn't work. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying the worst could come to worst, and we'll all have to get a fucking life.
Yeah, for real. It's like, oh no, not outside. Fuck. I don't know how to do anything outside.
That may be one of the smartest things I ever heard.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really fucking high, so it's cool.
Oh, I'll
And
join
then
you.
they need courier
I'm waiting for it to kick
pigeons
in.
to communicate.
Hey, I'm fine with that. My in-laws and my parents are too close as it is.
Oh, well, yeah, I don't like my family either. I don't blame you. I still can't see any sort of feasible implementation. Not without fucking the rest of the world. I just don't see it working.
Well, this means we need to charge up the spirit bomb then. MC, get the Tesla tower up and operational.
The Tesla tower is rather easy to build.
Tesla tower doesn't put out power far enough.
It didn't put out It didn't put out power far enough back then, but with our modern technology, we could increase that. Maybe.
Well, it's just
And when you put out more power like that, what ends up happening?
free radicals, but okay.
You end up frying birds and everything else.
Yeah, what happens when you start with 5G? I've heard a bunch of fucking devastating news about that, and they're still going forward with it. So don't tell me about what happens scenarios, because you don't really know what happens because you haven't done it.
I utilize 5G at my higher intensity signals can be bad shit.
Yeah.
But it's just living
folks affected by 5G.
Well, you know, and living near power lines increases your chances of cancer, or it increases your odd chances of cancer, or chances of odd cancer. I can talk. I swear there's words somewhere in here. I still don't see an implementation that doesn't cause economic harm in a way that isn't going to make them back out but quick.
Anything that a government does, there's always, when you get on scale, there's always going to be winners and losers. That's why I might take it on. Government should do the minimal evil. I would say minimal necessary evil, but then necessary will just, people will redefine that.
Yeah. Well, truth be told,
basically a realistic view of Google's
staying together. Yeah. I don't see
this could be the wedge. This could be the wedge if there are other, like, you're always seeing like the rise of more right-wing parties in different parts of Europe just because there's pushback. I hate to say it, but it's social physics. Cabby hates that, and he may appear to try to read me a new one, but I actually have citation for him now.
Well, I thought it was like proven. I thought that was one of those things that was just kind of almost a tacit thing now.
It depends on the scale. It depends on the scale. When you boil it down to very exact particleness, it is true. But I think there's a gap where it becomes very close to true, maybe spreads out again, depending on your micro and macroscopic level.
I guess, yes.
It's all perception, brah.
I think you are underestimating how an authoritarian state can implement this.
I don't think I am, because the people are only going to tolerate so much before they start openly rebelling. And based on the kind of political talk that's going on right now and the reactions, you know, like the Tommy Robinson riots and stuff, I'm thinking there's not that much longer till people just aren't tolerating it anymore. I think implementation is going to be the downfall, and it's going to cause a lot more problems. It's going to have a lot of unintended consequences, no matter how powerful that authoritarian state may be. I mean, just look what happened with the vote in Spain.
How long will it take for this uprising? People are kind of not willing to do it. So easy. We were talking about this, the fact that the internet is the real life, but people in real life prefer to go to the internet and type words at other people instead of actually go and do something.
Because we get to be someone that's not us.
I mean, no matter what.
Because you don't press an authoritarian state with words, because they are already censoring your words. You only press an authoritarian state with action.
Okay, well, but how do you get to the point of action without words?
Well, half of life is just showing up. The inventor of email told me that.
That's exactly what they are doing. They are already censoring words. They are already censoring people inside the European Union reach of their words, what they can say. How can they say? What can they use to say the words they are saying? So what they are in fact doing is, for example, you have elections next week, and all people that are interested in these elections, they are just watching for that video to come out and claim a copyright strike on it for reasons, whatever reasons. And while they are debating the legal part of that claim, the elections have already gone.
Okay, That's assuming they can catch everybody who spreads it. The power of the internet is numbers, right? It's connectivity. That's what social media. If that word can get out quickly, you know, like the Iran Revolution, right before the Arab Spring, the Iranian Revolution. Right before that, what happened? The people reached out. And had Obama had a motherfucking spine and not been pro-Islam at the time, Iran would look a hell of a lot different right now.
You mean when they were calling people on the streets that there was documentation of calling for U.S. intervention because they were ready for it? Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, yeah. You know, back in 2010, 2011, right before ISIS popped up as a real threat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be interested in what would happen if, just for maybe a social experiment, I'm not sure if this is feasible, but what if they just shut off the internet for a day?
You would watch people possibly and Hero. People would start killing themselves. They've already shown that there's too many people that are addicted to the internet and they can't function without it. Internet addiction is real. We know this.
So what you're saying is, if they were to shut off the internet for a day, it'd literally be like the Purge.
Possibly. I don't know. I don't know enough about mental health and stability in terms of other nations to really have an accurate.
That was supposed to be a joke, a dark joke. No, the sheer fact that we actually have to think about that as not being a joke is a terrifying thing.
I'm sorry.
Let me ask you a question. Do you know that there are hackers whose only objective in life is to shut down the internet because they think that it will prove that it can be done? But to rebuild the entire infrastructure to make the internet happen again, it will be like 50 years.
No.
How people will communicate in this?
No.
But it could be a super internet. What if it was that much better? Because sometimes before creation, there must be destruction.
It wouldn't take any amount of time to restart the internet. See, there are so many different ways to get it restarted, and there are so many different outlets, ports, and main servers and there are so many different layers to the internet. It wouldn't take that long to reestablish it, even if you cut all the lines going across the Atlantic.
But if the Death Star is built and all of their low orbit ion cannons are charging, like, what are we gonna do?
We're gonna use the space elevator, and we're gonna go find Luffy, Galactic Luffy in the Galactic One Piece, and we're gonna save the world.
Hey. We both know that you're going to need to generate an extreme amount of energy to keep that space elevator in space and stable. And I support eating the gummy fruit.
No, maybe. if the Death Star is in orbit and it's getting ready to fire, what everybody's going to do is lube up and have sex and invite the coming of death.
Oh, see, I thought it would be like my 8th grade teacher, Professor Jones, who's at that point, put your head between your knees and you kiss your butt goodbye.
No, you put your head between someone else's knees and kiss their butt goodbye.
Well, that seems more preferable.
Right? At least you're not trying to break your own neck.
Well, no, and I think the way they're going to implement it is through this vague language they're using. That way they can do anything they can to stifle the free speech, to stifle what they see as copyright infringement. And I am doing the little air quotes as I fucking say that, because come on, memes.
Yeah.
Not you personally, but memes themselves. You have to take a picture. You have to create a witty little fucking whatever on it, or you could also change the picture. I mean, they add Pepe fucking faces, all sorts of shit, and etc. I mean, these are creative outlets, and you are altering their original creation and making it your own, are you?
Well, that's why I'm saying I don't think they're going to be able to implement anything like that. I don't care how authoritarian or totalitarian they are. I just don't see them having the power to do that. That would mean literally almost having a cop for every door. You know what I'm saying? Like you'd have like more than 40% of your population in jail. You wouldn't be able to sustain it. It's don't see it being implementable.
Well, I mean, it's not like you might have a group of people that are all hit for the same particular copyright for a certain picture, even though they feel it's fair use, and they would create certain type of groups where maybe they could say something and then band together and maybe file a class action lawsuit. And I mean, there are methods to go through. I mean, I think it's better to just take a look at it and think it through and write better legislation if this is the route they want to go.
I don't think they're going to be able to do it. I think they're going to try to pass it and it's going to fail.
Well, as long as they don't do it behind closed doors and shit like that, as long as they do it all in the open.
Oh, you mean unlike America?
Well, to be fair, I heard it was going to actually happen behind closed doors, and they were going to talk about it very little.
Oh, so it's K Street. Oh, wait, Obamacare? No, NSA. No, wait, Patriot Act. No, okay, yeah. Federal Reserve.
This is why we need Article 13. We can't remind people of these things.
Well, no.
So you're making a case for Article 13 memes?
Well, in principle, well, here's the thing. The legislation literally says it's going to kill me. So, I mean, technically, it would be in my self-interest to go against it. However, I'm entertaining the idea of what if I did what was not in my self-interest and just did it well.
Yeah.
No, because I brought up that thing that Mad Dodge said. Like, what happens if this were to lead to a better system? Like, if this was what it is, and all of a sudden, if you have, like, you show this local news story that you could actually make up yourself of, my 14-year-old girl couldn't even use this for her online YouTube project at school.
Well, that's what I was
my God, save the children. The children are being oppressed because they're being taxed on citations, stuff like that. If you pitch a story like that, all of a sudden, I believe the powers that be would be like, we need to use a technical term and rig-a-jigger this a little bit. And it actually came to like some sort of like fairly balanced system, and we could avoid getting copyright strikes and
memes. No, you can't be the fucking lefty on this one. This is fascism, pure and simple. You have to be against it. Don't fucking defend this bunch of bullshit.
But I have a question. Okay, so if they want to do copyright and you have to be a news outlet or a news source or a news person of some sort to dispense this information, right? How hard is it to become a news source in Europe?
You write news?
No, I looked up how you get the press credentials here in the United States. It's a fairly easy process, but I do not know what.
But you don't even have to do that in America. All you have to do is say, I'm reporting. You don't even have to go through a registry or anything because it's protected. That was established back forever ago.
You can see how well it went for Tommy Robinson.
But that's what I'm asking. That a way to get around the law. That's what I'm asking.
Wait, hold on, wait. No, doesn't the law go both ways though? So like, if a lot of the stuff, like if it's protecting like Twitter and a person's tweets are their intellectual property, wouldn't that mean even like a news outlets like the CNNs, the Fox, the MSNBCs, to report on somebody's Twitter, they would need to contact them for the use, and that person can say, "Sure, you can use my tweet, $50,000."
I was going to say, what are they going to do when they cover Trump's tweets?
Well, real quick. Here in the chat, we got another freaking atheist. Nice to see you here, buddy. He said, "I think you will see the left and the right stand together and fight it," and that's coming from a self-professed lefty. So, MC, you've been quiet for a while. Do you think the left and the right will unite on this cause, especially in Europe? Because as of now, this doesn't affect us. Unless, of course, we start getting banned from the European market. Then you will see an American pushback.
Really? You're really going to see individuals on the left and the right actually show up together and try and put a stop to this?
Well, free speech.
Did the free speech rights stop England from putting people in jail? Did Dankula still get charged?
Well, there is no codified free speech in there in Britain, though.
Okay, and you don't have codified free speech in most of the European countries as well. Do you really think that they're going to get up in arms over this?
Yes,
I would like to believe that. I honestly don't.
What arms? Wait a second. What arms? They don't have the right to bear arms there.
Yeah, they do. It depends on the country you're in.
No, actually, you'll find that most European countries don't have the right to bear arms.
most of the European countries don't have the right to bear arms.
What about like
The population-
Switzerland and
But
Poland?
they
and
make such a great centerpiece.
They do.
What, bear arms or guns?
Oh, bear
Well,
arms.
you don't,
Bear arms.
you
Wow,
don't
wow.
really need a.
Yeah,
you don't
Family
need
Guy
a law
citation.
saying you can bear arms to actually bear arms. You know.
Well, to be fair, you could tear somebody apart with that shit, man. Those claws are exactly just like. No, well, here's the interesting thing about this. Going back to the previous topic before bearing arms, there, like if we're talking about citation, like this could stifle the news in general. Because I remember back in the day, even not all that long ago. Oh, look. Here's a reporter, Anderson Cooper, live in Libya. Holy shit, some bombs are going off behind him in Libya and shit. I'm like, all right, that's a reporter. I get that. And now, like, we're watching folks on TV. It's like, President Trump tweeted. Like, what happens if all that side stuff goes away? Because they're like, yeah, $1 million to cover my one tweet. Like, won't that make the media be better?
Here's the thing that irritates
So
me.
basically, let's go back to the media being in total in control. Just a few freaking agencies on the mainstream press and what people can see and what they don't see. Good plan.
Or you just let all the smaller creators offer it for free, which sounds better than paying a lot of money for.
I have a different
subscription.
I have a different angle to look at this real quick. Not even the YouTube angle. I just started school, right? You know what college wants? Citation, 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 citation. Am I going to have to pay news links if I'm doing a current event story for my political science class? Well, I mean, what's going to go on with that type of shit?
Write
I mean,
a
that's
letter to your MEP.
All universities want is you to cite where you got your evidence from. That's it. And now they're saying you have to pay for the citation. That's bullshit.
It sounds like you're being oppressed, MD.
No, the question comes back means, then what's the reason that they're doing this? Why is it that your expectation? Oh, they're going to be free. It's all going to be wonderful. Oh, then why are they doing it? Why are these governments? Why is the government agency of the European Union? What's their reasoning for doing this?
What's the reason that's given, or what's actually in their heads and hearts?
Both.
I have no idea on the second for what they're saying is basically proper, like, payment to sources. And that's why I say, like, dude, I actually thought about this for a while. Like, what happens, like, if there was just, like, an app or something saying, here's all this stuff from Cinemax, this, or you can use this popular scene from a movie.
The fact that you link something in there, all right, drives revenue to that site. It drives that site, which allows them to charge more on the end of advertising. So that concept means that you're already doing that. So you're not doing it enough. So they want these major mainstream media sites.
Okay.
Why would a government agency want to see the mainstream media increase their revenue?
Yes, but if we apply free market principles, MC,
we're not talking free market principles.
Yes, propaganda matches and blah blah blah.
Whom does the burden fall? The ISP or the end user?
If you take into consideration that the Soviet Union had an official press media that was called Pravda, and it means the truth. Basically, this is making the mainstream media being their version of Pravda.
Okay, but that's what the mainstream media has basically been for about 80 years.
Like, when this drives, like, stuff to alt media, like if alt media is like, we have a zero or nominal fee.
Or this is copyright free information.
The out media cannot quote or say any words that the mainstream media used under the article.
Unless it's put in the public domain and easily discernible as in the public domain, so then you'll need some.
They're saying that if it's on Twitter, if you're putting a link out there, obviously it's in the public domain, and they're trying to put an end to it.
Yeah,
you could be part of a group.
But that's going to kill
free use folks.
Yeah, but that's going to kill these news companies faster than anything else. That's seriously. If they have to remove links from Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Reddit and Instagram, and
Well-
every fucking where else, these companies are going to go out of business because most of the people that share this information can't afford to buy it.
Wait a
Well-
second. This just sounds like old school citation where if you use a quote, you're supposed
Yes.
to use quotation. Now all I'm hearing is you just have to put in your own words. Like I remember that from, I don't know, middle school, high school.
No,
Paraphrasing.
but they're
is
saying they're
versus
banning people,
citating.
but they're banning
Paraphrase,
people from showing their sources. They're looking to
Yeah.
ban the smaller
That-
creators.
Wouldn't that promote fake news?
They're trying to drive it
It's
to where
gonna
they
kill
can
it
come back and
faster.
say they're trying to come back and say that there is fake news. They can then use this to say, look, this guy doesn't have any citations. This guy's just making this stuff up. Therefore, because nobody can check on the veracity of that individual, all right, it basically is hindering the individual person who's taking news in from looking at something and examining it closely to see whether or not am I being lied to or not.
Oh
Okay.
my God, MC, we all need to invest into the Associated Press right now because isn't that where most of these news outlets get their news from?
Well, okay. I think you're going to see a whole lot more Tim Pool's pop up is what's going to happen.
For example, Matt Dodge is going through college now. And one of the basic things when you're doing science is that citation needed. You cannot use citation of anything, so you cannot prove a claim. So any claim that you make, you cannot give the citation, so you cannot prove any claim anymore.
Okay, I think we're getting a bit autistic with
It affects
this.
the academia too.
I think we're getting a bit
Are we?
autistic with this.
I don't think so.
I
This
think
is intent-
we are. I don't think it's going to go that route. Pragmatically speaking, I don't think they're going to go that far. Because I mean, you're talking about not being able
Why
to.
wouldn't they?
Because then you don't have universities to promote your groupthink.
No, you have universities where they all share one another because they're all linked together, and you have to then go to and utilize their
They
links.
will
They
have the
themselves aren't going to be
internet.
affected. They already get enough funding from the government.
Mhm. Universities can have the intranet where they can share each other's works within the scope of the intranet, but the internet will not be allowed to share the same content.
Okay, now you're talking about setting up a whole new system.
Well, effectively,
But
that's what they're
they
looking
are
at
creating. But that's what they are creating.
How?
because they're limiting
With the
access.
Yeah,
legislation.
but, okay, but you have to physically create this new system.
No, they
Where are
just
you
have to
seeing it being
limit
built?
access. It's just software.
Well,
The great
the
firewall
intranet.
is basically software.
Well, the intranet they already use at the NSA, the DoD, and all that stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
that's just.
but I'm
a closed-
talking about
that's a
in Europe,
closed
though.
effort.
I'm talking about in Europe because you're talking about universities only having these closed systems where they share information for them between their universities and their mates. Where is that system already set up? Because I don't see a system like that being set up. I think they're just going to use this.
ARPANET is
it's-
already set up.
That's for America, MC.
Yes.
There's no DARPA network in Europe, is what
Well,
I'm saying.
yes, they do. They have something very similar. They really do.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Where is the system? Where has it been built? That's what I was literally asking. If you see the system, then it's something that
the European internet uses the same system that the American internet, the Brazilian internet, and even the Chinese internet. But the Chinese, China was an example that was brought previously. China is self-contained. Europe is not so much. So they will create means of self-containing it.
Yes. This is the process of them beginning to contain themselves, to create
Right.
fire and areas that they can then manage. This is the first step for that. And
They're
their
setting up
other
a force
step-
field.
The other step that they're using is they're mitigating the ability to even argue about it. You can't just grab somebody's post and say, "Look at what this dirtbag is trying to present as news to you."
No, Mom. Bye.
okay, but I don't see that happening, because I think what's going to happen is they're going to only implement this against opinions that they don't like, only implement it against news organizations they don't like, further driving a wedge between the right and the left, thus creating the possibility of open revolution or civil wars or really bad fascistic extremism to re-emerge.
As an American. You are thinking as an American.
Well, fair enough. We are Americans,
Okay.
but
Glad
does that
you
mean
were thinking.
does that mean you agree with another freaking atheist chat when he says that this might unite the left and the right in Europe? But keep in mind, the left and right in Europe is not our left and right. Those are two different things.
Exactly.
Well, that's why I was saying, because their right is different.
Much closer to influence of Russia, for example, because Russia is their neighbor. I can see a potential exploitation coming from the east, coming from Russia if they try this. Again, remember, pravda, the truth. Who will own the truth?
Okay, well, the truth is subjective. Let's be real.
That's a fair assessment from a human perspective.
Right, but if you're limiting the ability of people to gather information, all right, then you limit their ability to just develop their own truth in a broader sense. You start to narrow their ability to define truth.
Well, they'll go to people they like, and they'll form cults of personality, and a lot of folks will follow charismatic people. And
but
what
those
could go wrong?
Those people will get banned. Those people will be. You got to remember, you're in Europe. If so they decide that they don't like you, they ban you and throw you in jail.
So they're saying you can't be a person?
Yes. And apparently that's everybody's just going to take that line.
If the internet is now real life, they're denying your existence.
Well, the thing is,
I thought that's oppressive.
Memes, I think you nailed the hammer on the net. You nailed it right on the head when you said that a cult of personality. Well, what are these cults of personality? You got like Alex Jones, InfoWars. You have, Lionel. He's got a large following. All these people are going to end up being banned over there, especially Alex Jones. I bet you he's on top of the list. He's already being sued 7 ways to Sunday. The dude doesn't know what's going on anymore.
Dude, the thing is with Alex Jones, and here's the thing. It's like watching InfoWars is kind of like watching NASCAR. It's like, yeah, there's racing going on, but you're waiting for a moment that you hope doesn't come, but part of you does because Schadenfreude. But here's the thing. I could so imagine Alex, he'll be there. He'll be broadcasting live. He'll be on his CB radio, broadcasting out to truckers in the local area. They'll be sending it through cell phone towers to some other access, and he'll have this like crazy map up there, Glenn Beck style, linking. He's like, I'm broadcasting to you live through the CB radios, and truckers are bringing it up through whatever wires, and then he just goes through like 7 different points, and he's like, we will always be here. This is Alex Jones, super male vitality for the win.
Yeah, it's the info.
But that's you can laugh at it, but what's the effect over in Europe?
It's brilliant marketing. Do people know yet?
Well, and
you missed the point. Will a European style, quote unquote, Alex Jones arrive? He's going to be prevented from ever showing up because as soon as he starts to get enough of a following, they will shut him down.
But are we assuming that these people are just going to take it lying down?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. What is the point where people stop lying down, where people get up off of their asses and get literally IRL?
Okay.
We are talking about the same countries that are being flooded with immigrants that we cannot say anything because otherwise we will strike.
And Germany now has roving bands of hooligans.
But these people are doubling down. These people are doubling down to the demands of these immigrants.
You can't even right now.
It's their self-interest.
Oh, really? You think it's in their self-interest to sit up there and go,
what's going to happen?
We shouldn't have grooming gangs?
I was wrong. They're going to literally get crucified.
Okay, are they getting crucified? Right now you got grooming gangs roaming around all over Europe. Do you have them standing up?
Bad.
Huh?
And nobody's doing anything. Nobody's doing anything.
Well, where's the rise up? Where's the people rising up and saying, "Hey, I want to stop this. We need to do something about it." Because as soon as someone does, what happens?
Well,
all of a sudden, they get a visit from their authorities, and they're gone.
On this person,
exactly,
and that got people off their asses. Yeah.
In England, a few, Not enough, though. Guess what? He's still in jail, isn't he?
There are folks protesting. Well, to be fair, he did violate his parole, so
He violated his parole. Okay,
it's
that was
dumb,
on
but he
him.
did break the law. Yeah.
It was on him. He knew better, and that's why.
I think he did because he kept on saying, he's like, "You've heard it here, you've heard it here." I'm like, I'm going back, and I'm like, he's a smart dude, and it's a protest. It's like Bernie Sanders chain, or what's her name, Grandma Jill Stein.
And what's happened? What's happened with the grooming gangs in England? Anything?
Okay, but the grooming gangs in Germany are starting to decrease with the hooligans wandering the fucking streets on.
Is it really going to take blood?
Unfortunately, at this point, it is. I think it is, because if they're talking about shutting down the ability to cite a news article or respond to a fucking tweet with information, yes, you're looking at the point where it's gone so mental that people are going to start responding in an irrational fashion.
We needed a better path.
We
right
do.
Now, blood is boiling right now. Blood is boiling.
One hand, wishing the other all you want.
I know, you've been telling me that for a while.
Blood is not boiling enough. They are taking advantage of people's sheep mentality.
Well, I also think most folks, well, yeah. And well, here's the thing. It's like, people don't. I think most folks are good people and stuff, and a lot of times they're like, "Well, if this is what is good, if this is what I'm supposed to do."
Germans were good, and the Nazis killed how many Jews?
Yes, and maybe I'm just a noob for just kind of always thinking it's like, whatever. Like, if I grew up in Nazi Germany as a normal German citizen, and if it was the thing to be in the Nazi Party, I might have been in the Nazi Party. Did I necessarily entertain the idea fully that I might enjoy doing it? No, but I'm just like,
prevent it from happening.
Would I?
Would you be willing to prevent it from happening? And that's the problem
I might
here.
Get killed.
The problem is you have to be willing to prevent it from happening.
I probably would be too. Well, I would have
you gotta be willing to give your life.
Yes.
And then when folks start dying for that, then
to prevent it means that you are willing to risk your life.
Okay,
People
but
don't want to risk their lives.
I think they're getting there.
Well, a lot of times we want someone else to do it. Let's face it, nobody wants to get killed.
They are expecting that someone else will risk their lives. That's the point where people are currently. Someone else will do that.
Well, no, to quote Thomas Paine, I don't fucking mind. I don't really like the Sunshine Patriot, the one who comes in at the end, battle's already won. No, give me a real patriot who will stand from the very fucking beginning. We either hang together or we hang separately.
Okay, now I agree.
Hey, sometimes Gandalf rides in at the sunrise.
We're Americans for the most part, with the exception of memes.
What?
I'm not American.
I said for the most part.
Oh, you're apparently more American than me.
Okay, but and you're right. We are thinking about this like Americans because we have no idea what European culture is because we're Americans. So we're looking at this from our standpoint and trying to figure out how the fuck you're going to implement it and what it actually means. I mean, I can't say that the apathy hasn't gotten that high, but at some point the apathy is going to reach a breaking point because that's how revolutions start.
Well, isn't like a lot of Europe is just, well, if you have a comfortable standard of living, like even like if you've got like a really good social safety net and everything, if regardless, maybe you don't have like living a great life or anything, but as long as you're surviving, as long as you have your basic needs met, like, I don't know, like if you still have the internet, and that seems okay.
But will they have the internet?
You don't see a counter revolution happening in Venezuela where people don't have toilet paper.
Yeah, so they are.
What are you expecting from Europeans?
There's fucking riots in the streets. How can you say there's not a counteraction going?
What's accomplishing? They've been rioting for how many years now? Literally.
Well, they have to break up the riots every once in a while to go eat a dog or a zebra. But
or eat the people that have been killed while they were freaking rioting.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, it's still happening. They're still fighting it. I don't know what's happening. I haven't paid attention to Venezuela. Quite frankly, it disturbs me to watch the fucking...
When it goes on a mass scale, that people start seeing.
But it's you already have people fighting the apathy. It's Cuba on a regular basis. They have to kill people, or they have to deport them, or put them in camps and all kinds of shit.
Or
to
they
keep
ship
Cuba.
them to America, which is what they.
But who is going to put whom in camps? That's the question. Who is in power?
It depends on where you're at. I mean, because
well, the European Union is sending a message to the entire world that they can't censor the internet, and they will do it.
Well,
and
yeah,
if they
and
can
you know why
censor
this
the
is all
internet, they
happening?
can censor people on the streets.
But you know why this is all happening? You know why the UN has decided they're this big in their britches?
Well,
Because
if you're
Obama
asking,
handed over ICANN.
I don't even necessarily think it's that. I think they are shitting
That's
their
definitely
pants
a part of
over.
it.
I think they're shitting their pants over the meme war, quote unquote, and they just don't know what to do anymore. Internet culture is overtaking real culture,
Yes,
and that's because internet is
culture.
It's not that the
Yeah.
internet culture is to overtaking the culture. The problem is that they've lost
emerging.
the control of controlling the narrative. Now, you always had once in a while where the narrative would get out of control every now and then, but for the most part, the media and the government together have always been in cahoots with controlling the narrative, and they've lost that now.
Yeah,
They can't control the narrative.
It's TV versus a YouTube video. What's the main difference? You're both watching a video on TV. You see exactly what they want you to see. On the YouTube video, yeah, you see what they want you to see, and then there's interaction, like Styx does.
Well, I think I still don't see how they're going to implement it.
Have you read that book 1984 by George Orwell?
Yes.
Negative.
So the protagonist of that book works for the
I was born in
Ministry
the
of
year. It was a good year.
You did not read
write
1984.
the narrative that suits the government
Negative.
on a daily basis.
In school, they didn't make it required reading where you were where you grew up.
It may have been. I don't think it was. I may have skipped things, but I usually
He was too
remember.
busy.
And he wonders why I call them from those people from frickin' Boston a bunch of socialists.
Hey,
Well,
we're
hey.
in New England. It might be insulting.
Hey, now I might live in Oregon, but I do have 1984 on my bookshelf. I also have A Brave New World. So come on, I know my shit.
I do have access to an audiobook
If you
copy.
go again to
I'm a
George
homeschooling
Orwell,
mom.
if
Think I
you
don't
go
have at
to
least one
Animal
copy.
Farm, they start with all
Three
animals
copies.
are equal when the pigs make the
Animal Farm.
revolution. But at the end, what is written there on the wall? All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others.
I thought you said all animals were equal. I'm sorry.
No, at the end of the book, it's there written on the wall. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. That's the moral of the story. It starts as a revolution and it ends with some being more equal than others.
Well, I mean, I really do think you keep going, Tema, to how are they going to implement? They don't know, and that's why it's so vague. It's so open. That way they can do whatever they have to implement it.
It depends on who says yes and who says no.
Is a tool. Being vague is a tool. Being vague is a tool. Because since it's vague, they can do whatever they want.
And that's why I'm telling you, this is either going to lead to the death of media because they think it's going to help them control it, or it's going to lead to the death of it, or it's going to lead to revolution or a rise of a fascistic state in Europe. And either way, you know, we're going to see a mass exodus again of Europeans to America again, and we're going to have to find another big problem.
You are being an American. Fascism, socialism.
Why are you saying that to me like it's a pejorative?
Are all left. It's not pejorative. It's just
20th century didn't have a good track record.
If you go back, Nazism is National Socialism. Fascism is an authoritarian left ideology. And socialism is the way to communism. So all of them, this dichotomy that Nazis and fascists are right-wing, it comes from like the 60s on. But they are all left-wing. If you go at the core of each one of these ideologies, they are left-wing. They are not right-wing.
It depends on
That's
your
the
definition
what I
of
was
left or right.
saying. That's what I was saying.
I see. I think it's more of an authoritarian scaled lens
Well, that's why I
on it.
said like fascistic, as in using government to keep control over the individual.
I
Yes,
just tend to think things end up coming full circle.
By the government. Yeah, different shades of control by the government. And the only difference between Hitler and Stalin was that Hitler had his National Socialist Party, while Stalin had his Soviet Union.
Well, they were still both
That's the
dictators, though.
difference.
But what does
They
that have
both
to
were
do with what I
dictators.
said?
No, and that's what I
Both
hear from.
dictators.
Yeah, from like, oh, what was it? I think Owen McDonald, or no, oh shit, who was the guy I talked with? I'm sorry, Owen. Yeah, no. Well, some of them know that I kept hearing as their arguments. They're like, they're both dictators. So I'm like, that's why it's more than an authoritarian lens.
Well, no, and that's why I've always said, and I maintain that the real dichotomy is authoritarian and freedom. If you want to go, and that's really what it is. There's authoritarianism on one end, anarchy on the other. The Constitution is 4 steps from anarchy.
Yes,
and
it
that's
is.
not quite perfect, but I would like it 3 steps away. I like the Articles of Confederation. Fuck off, MC. Anyway, that's where I would want
the Confederation that were proven failures, and that's why he wants.
We're not going down that road.
Wait.
Fuck off.
I'm really confused, though. What does this have to do with what I was saying? I'm really confused.
This is the red eye. We kind of go with the conversation, so we moved on to the left-right dichotomy. So
What were we talking about?
No, but back to the what you were saying, Atima. The thing is you're saying, well, how are they going to manage this? Well, the way they're gonna do this is they're going to play the frog in the pot. They're going to do a little bit here and a little bit there while they slowly increase the heat. All right, that's where this vagueness comes from. The thing is what happens is that they all will eventually lose their freedoms. You've already seen how much the English were willing to lose their freedoms. And it's a lot further. And it's some of them are slowly getting fed up, but the vast majority of them aren't yet.
Doesn't need to be the vast majority of them. It took 3% of the population to create the American Revolution.
Well, about 30 were patriots. Approximately 30% were in the middle, and about another 30 were considered.
But 3% were the ones that made the action and started it.
This is just a personal gripe. But when we talk about the revolution, they're patriots. When we talk about the other American war, they're rebels. Just pointing that out.
Well,
the other ones were rebels because they refused to sit up there and listen, and they failed.
Oh yeah, Washington didn't almost fail 20,000 times. Anyway, moving on. I'm not going to get bogged down. No, MC.
Did he?
Don't get drunk on Christmas Eve.
The French. French. Well, I'm saying the fucking French. All right.
And if you British, Canada, God.
There's no British people here.
Who the hell do we blame, man?
Voice left. I was gonna blame British for the Civil War, the British people,
Irish,
but I know
wait a second. No. See, no, I thought it was Canada. Didn't they burn down the White House? I heard.
No.
Yes.
Oh, that was
the British.
That was war 1812, but it was the British. But the Canadians were British.
I thought President Trump blamed Justin Trudeau for that.
They did.
Justin Trudeau blamed Trump for it.
Wait, Trump burnt down the White House? Now I'm confused.
I do think they had a conversation, and on it, at some point during the conversation, President Trump brought up the burning of the White House in 1812.
Yeah, because
that's fucking awesome.
Didn't you guys
how are we ever a threat to America? And yes, it was Canadian-born British troops that did burn down the White House.
So he wasn't completely. He was somewhere in the same continent.
He was being tongue-in-cheek.
No, he was in the Northern Hemisphere. Well, it sounds exactly like something.
No,
these people are retarded. Heaven forbid this man have a sense of humor.
No, we'll get this back around towards the actual topic of the day. Do you guys remember when Trump was at the G7 or whatever the fuck they call it now, because they're cutting people out every day. And he threw, what was it? Starburst on the table.
And he threw some to Merkel?
Yeah, I told Merkel, don't say I never gave you anything. Like a boss. Like a fucking boss.
Wait, he gave her Starburst?
I think it was Skittles.
Oh, it was Starburst. It said Starburst on the news things I saw.
It better not be the pink ones. Those are the best.
Dude, that's how you make friends.
Well,
you deserve that shit.
And you know, ironically, from what my husband's told me, fruity candies are far more, or during the Hitler or Nazi Germany, fruity stuff was the candy and sweets of the time were mostly fruity, not chocolate or dark.
Oh no! Like, and everybody said Merkel is related to Hitler. I don't know if that's true, but
how can anybody be related to Hitler? He didn't have any.
Well, she is German.
Imagine that this hangout is happening in the European Union. Could it be considered as how can I say, as revolutionary, and therefore it should be shut down?
No, because it originates from America, so they can't do anything about it.
No, I said imagine if we were in the European Union. This hangout is happening in the European Union. What would happen? Could we talk with as much freedom as we are talking here?
I don't know. I don't know enough about. I don't know enough about the speech
Were
laws.
we implementing a plan of action?
No, if we were in Germany, I just mentioned Hitler, we would have been shut down already. I want to go to the chat real quick. Another freaking atheist says, Canada didn't exist then. Well, sir, Canada is still a part of the British Commonwealth. It did exist then as part of the British Commonwealth as colonies. So, sir, I beg to differ. Anyway, moving on. Go ahead, Pam.
He's just mad that he didn't get a chance to burn it. So that's his
No, I like another freaking atheist. He's a cool guy. Me and him were on Mole's stream, and he started to go at me about being a libertarian because he is a filthy liberal. Don't worry, I say it because I love you, man. You are a filthy liberal.
We should get this man on here.
Beef wants cover.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll give him some Skittles and Starburst. That's how
we make Fred.
Well, it's okay, Memes. I'm pretty socially liberal, so I'll hang out with you part of the time, okay?
And right when you need the support, the backstab begins.
Oh, I've played with many rogues over the years.
Chaotic neutral all the way, baby.
It's gonna have extremely high AC.
Probably, actually. I don't remember.
Hey, Dwarven Defender for the win.
But hell no, half drow mage, man. Let's go total 15-year-old here. Sorry.
Another freaking is if you want to jump on, man, I could DM you the link on Twitter, or I could throw it in the chat for about 3 minutes. That's all I'll leave it for, and then I'm deleting the son of a bitch. So let me know if you want the link, and you can hop on if you feel like it, man.
MD will open up the wormhole.
Uh-oh. The wormhole. This can lead to bad consequences. Remember Star Trek and the Dominion War?
Yeah. I want to meet
the beginning of the Dominion War begins today.
Wait, what have we done?
I don't know. I missed something.
We've now switched to a Star Trek theme.
No, the Discord link, if it's only open for 3 minutes, it's kind of a wormhole of the internet. Because if the internet is real life, then a Discord link would be like, or something would be a wormhole.
Not the Discord. I was going to give him the link for.
The Hangout. Well, that's what I meant. He's be like teleporting to us.
He's scared of you.
Another day. He's scared. He said maybe another day. I think I scared him.
The kitty warned him off.
No, I just said that we have to negotiate the terms of my phone getting in his ass.
Like the Doberman bringing him out. Come on in. No, everyth's fine.
Yes. Marie is so terrifying.
That was Cujo.
No, but the interesting thing is, though, Article 11 is pretty much what we already talked about, and it's the news links. So they split it between the memes and stuff like that with Article 13. And then Article 11 is the actual links provision. Do you believe there's a way to get them to cut it out? Because I was watching Count Dankula's little 3-minute video earlier today, and he said there's 2 ways to end it. One, you just call everybody and get them to vote it down for good, because it did pass 1 vote. I guess it's going to another. I don't know how the EU works. I'm an American. But there's also another way to where they can send it to review. And in review, they could line item veto Articles 11 and 13. MC, I'll start with you. Do you think that's the way it's going to go, or nope. I don't either. I'm afraid it's going to pass, man.
Of course it's going to pass. It's going to pass with flying colors. The people who want this to pass are the people who are getting their faces known throughout Europe as memes being done against them. You think that they have, and they're not accountable. All right? They're not accountable to anybody.
But if we flip the picture and then meme that they are the people that ban memes,
they won't care.
They'll be very unpopular.
They won't care. Their ability to be in the EU is not based or predicated on anything the population says.
But what if people get very unhappy?
Okay, people are unhappy. The masses are unwashed. Okay, and how is that going to fix it? How's it going to change anything? It's not going to change anything.
Maybe it'll increase likelihood of contributing factors and people doing something. I don't know.
Well, actually, I don't think it'll fix anything, but what I think it will do is the UK will get the fuck out as quickly as possible at that point. They're going to have no...
I had a lot more faith that something was going to happen with the UK when I first saw the Brexit thing and all that, and I really thought that they were going to go forward with it. I really thought they were. I didn't want to believe Cabbage when he said no. They're gonna try and bollocks this up and prevent it from happening. And so far, Cabbage has been 100% spot on with what they've been doing.
Ooh, I wonder if Cabbage is also right, because I've had this because I pitched the idea. I'm like, so. And this was a while ago. Like, what happens if Sargon runs as like for like an MEP or something like that? Like, he's like, no, wouldn't happen with his past and everything. I'm like, okay, we're kind of starting to see some of this stuff with the UKIP thing, but like, I'm curious at what would happen because I'm unsure.
Well, that's my question, because Europe is a little different than Great Britain. Great Britain's an island nation, and their mentality is different. Just interacting with the people in the different nations. That's what I've been. I've been
it's different cultures,
observing. Yeah. I think the UK is more likely to turn around and kick somebody's ass quicker than somebody in France.
They're polite. They'll put up with a lot, but when shit goes down, it's kind of like up here in New England in a way, like because we can be we're kind of like massholes and stuff, but I mean that's a separate issue. Like we can be friendly and we will take a lot of shit, but there are certain things like when they tried to do the alcohol tax like a few years ago, it's like no, folks, we're going to have that. They'll pay for many things, but don't tax our booze.
Yeah, and I think you're more likely to see them buck quicker than a lot of other people.
It is a SID tax. It is a SID tax. So it's like, it's one of the more justifiable ones. But I'm like, all I remember growing up is education kept getting cut. And like, these classrooms kept getting bigger. Or at least that's what I remember hearing a lot about.
Okay, I got a new angle to go at this from then. And I'm going to ask you, Tema, first. Okay, so you have a lot of EU member countries wanting to leave. You have Poland. You have, obviously, the UK. I believe a few others. Even Italy is starting to go rogue. Do you think if they pass this copyright legislation where they're pretty much cut off from the rest of the world, because they're not going to be able to watch us Americans. We're not going to stop. We're going to keep our memes. We're going to keep posting our links and citing our sources, and we're going to keep doing our shit. So is that going to force those countries to say, you know what? Fuck you, Merkel. We're out.
I think you may. I mean, the immigration has been a big enough of a pain in the ass for them. I think once you start telling them they can't bitch about it too, there's a couple of those countries on the list that are pretty big money makers too. So, you may see the EU fall apart in the next 25 years if they push this too hard. I can't see them actually thinking it through that far, but it's possible. Italy's a pretty big money maker. You know, if Germany starts casting off at all anymore than they already are, they'll leave, and they're the cash cow of Europe. So I don't know. Possibly it could be an undoing.
What happens if Germany ends up getting pretty fucked up from some of the choices they made, and we start seeing some far more extremist groups come to power?
The choices they are making, though, as they lead the EU right now, is an EU army to quell such revolutions.
Yeah, but where are they going to get the money for that?
France?
Wait,
I don't know. Yeah, link tax.
I mean, isn't the EU already complaining about having a deficit of money that they want to be able to do the things they're doing now?
Well, they keep arguing about it, and then they turn around and say no, but nobody can look at our books.
Let's look at the whole chessboard here. You have
well, that's what I'm asking. I don't know. I'm
you have President
Can I
we
ask
don't
you
need
a question, Matt Dodge?
Go ahead.
You mentioned Germany in particular. Germany has a huge nuclear arsenal that actually belongs to your country, the United States, in their territory. What if they appropriate it on behalf of the European Union?
I don't know if you can do that.
You guys have watched Spaceballs, right? It's the end of Mega Maid. This maid will self-destruct it. You're not going to seize like U.S. territory. No.
Well,
you can try.
That could happen in a situation where President Trump is saying we don't need NATO anymore. It's a waste of our fucking money. Nobody's paying into it other than the UK and what?
We would not turn over our nuclear arsenal.
We wouldn't hand it over.
We wouldn't. But we leave NATO as they create an EU army. They seize the arsenal. What happens then, MC?
If they attempt to seize the arsenal, we'll go to war.
They're going to lose. They're going to lose.
They were, but there's no reason.
The arsenal is in their country.
It doesn't matter. We have a greater military force and presence.
You may get the arsenal unleashed.
Well, that's the thing.
It's a military base. Come on, it's an American military base.
President Trump has some keys to it.
So, but no, what most likely would happen, because they don't need that. It's the same thing. Like, okay, there's no chemical weapons nuclear weapons in Japan either. Right? Yet they've got literally tons of plutonium. Germany does too. Germany has a large number of nuclear reactors that produce plutonium. How tough would it be for them, from a technological perspective, to build a nuclear weapon?
No,
it would actually be pretty tough because you have to use different types of centrifuges and stuff, don't you?
Nope. No, but when you use plutonium and triggers, you don't. Then you just use that and lithium.
But they're so unstable. They aren't very predictive. Plutonium is the least popular element to use for nuclear weapons.
But that's because the reason for that is not because the reason they don't want to use plutonium rather than uranium has to do with the fact that you're dealing with an alpha emitter versus a gamma emitter.
Yeah.
You make power off of uranium.
Yeah, you
can make power off of plutonium too.
Well, it's far more difficult though.
There's another radioactive material.
It's not that it's more difficult, it's less safe.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's far more difficult to use as a weapon because it's not as stable.
Yeah, but
harder to implement.
I'd have to explain everything to you, but stability isn't the issue.
What they have. It is
I have a real question. Okay. First off, whose idea was it to give the Germans nuclear materials? That's fucking dumb. Second, there is two different types.
You go back to the Cold War.
Well, there's two different types of radioactive material that you can use in a power plant. One of them you cannot use to create a nuclear bomb. Why the fuck didn't we mandate Germany to use that fucking one? I can't remember its name.
I don't think we had the technology yet.
All right. Yes, that is correct. Thorium, which is a low salt reactor. Yes, you could.
I almost said tritium instead of thorium.
All right, but the thorium reactors that have been created, the thorium salt reactors that have been created are experimental still, because there's a lot of other technical capabilities from a power plant perspective that you'd have to overcome. Not the least of which is the fact that it's salt and therefore it's very corrosive, and as a result, any kind of piping that you're dealing with would tend to corrode much more quickly.
Yeah, even ceramic doesn't hold up that well.
Okay,
I
but
almost said
fair
pretty
I
random.
did not know. They didn't know how to use that quite yet at that time. You know what's holding us back with that nowadays is the fact that the United States doesn't want to use it because you can't use the byproducts of the nuclear power plant to create your nuclear arsenal. Which, fair enough, whatever. Military-industrial complex, you win this one.
That's not exactly accurate. All right, you still end up with you still end up right when you got a major reactor going on. Okay, if you're going to use some kind of nuclear reactor, and it's got to be enough to where you're generating a lot of power, in order to change material, in order to create something that's going to be usable, for example, what you basically end up doing is capturing neutrons, and so you put material in there that can then capture neutron flow. All right. And you can, if you throw out stuff like that with uranium, and you put enough uranium just off to the side, it doesn't have to actually be as part of the reaction, but you just put the material in there. All right, you can then enrich it. You can do several different things to cause it to change form for all intents and purposes into plutonium.
Okay, fair enough.
From neutron capture, but
once again, I'm going back to college for a history degree, not nuclear physics. But I do appreciate it.
All I remember taking away from that is to switch over to thorium. We got to rejigger a lot of really expensive nuclear power plants.
Well, yeah, the basis is completely different, and of course the material to deal with the salt is still a problem.
How's the equivalent mass output as far as power goes? Because I know, remember, 1 gram of uranium was equivalent to 100 barrels of oil, equivalent to 1 ton of coal.
It's a slightly less, but it's pretty equivalent actually.
Okay.
There are the other advantage of using thorium is that you don't need to pressurize the containers to the kind of high pressures that you see from current nuclear reactors.
Is it also less likely to have a meltdown?
Meltdown thing. The concerns about meltdowns. There's lots of ways to they could have built reactors to prevent meltdowns. A meltdown in a nuclear reactor in today's with what we have for modern technology is easily doable.
Tell that to Japan.
Well, that was an old plant that should have been upgraded a long time ago with an extremely rare, in our history, event. It was a terrible thing.
Wait, tsunamis are rare? Is that have signs on
a 9.0 earthquake that happened in that particular area for a plant that literally needed to be renovated?
No, dude, I live in the Cascades. You tell me if the fucking sisters erupt that, that's rare. No, I expected it. I live near a fucking volcano, kinda. You know what I mean? No, that's a ring of fire. They
had backups. The tsunami just happened to be a couple feet too high, and those backup pumps got soaked, so they didn't cut on with the diesel generators.
Tell that to the fishermen off the Oregon coast. The Oregon coast catching 3-eyed fucking salmon. I mean, I don't care. I don't care about your bullshit. You should have upgraded your fucking nuclear plant, and you should have fucking had safeguards in place. You're in a fucking zone with volcanoes, earthquakes, and tsunamis.
Well, I agree with you, MD, but it just doesn't sound very libertarian of you.
Oh,
it's a little late. It's a little late to scream and yell about it now when it's already happened, and the guy that inspected it and approved it killed himself. So
that's a horrible thing. I don't even know what we're talking about. But
did you go to the forest?
Sorry.
Did he go to the forest? God, what a dick.
Maybe he was that hanging dude. I don't know, but I know that he did kill himself.
It was a fair question. Damn it! Don't shame me.
But
if you feel shame, it's you shaming yourself.
Smart, safe, as well as we can do for the cost. Nuclear power plants really are an actual very green alternative for the interim before we get up to peak solar and battery capacity efficiencies.
We need to figure out batteries before we do anything else. Sorry.
I hear thorium could help.
Thorium could help, but you gotta put a stop to the eco-Nazis.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
The same people that shut down all the desal plants in California.
They're the same people who shut down schools. They're the same people who shut down anything that looks like progress.
So what you're saying is we need to reunite the Planeteers.
Oh, we need to unite them, all right, in jail.
No, they were cool and they were diverse and they had
they
like, heart
stopped
and stuff.
progress every single time.
No, they stopped a lot of pollution. Captain Planet was kind of
claimed
kind of
to
creepy.
stop-
Dude, Captain Planet was gay. He raped children.
We don't know. to be fair, Captain Planet was a construct of humanity, and people do ruin everything. So
No, you know what? At the time, memes. I'll give you this. I enjoyed Captain Planet as a kid. Now looking back, it is pure propaganda. And holy shit, why did my mother let me watch that lefty bullshit?
Yeah, but then wasn't a lot of like the principle was good. The principle was
You should
good.
sue your mother.
No,
You should sue your
no.
mother.
No, he doesn't live in California. My apologies are to our California friends, but
Yeah.
here's the thing.
Hey, I'm from California. Does that mean I can do that?
I may
don't know.
owe you.
I lived in Baldwin Park. Does that count? I mean, that was the ghetto. I gotta have some
Baldwin Park.
fucking. No, do I get to trade some of my white privilege cards for ghetto cards?
Well, technically, yes. No,
No, it
I'm
doesn't
thinking
work.
about making the game. No, it doesn't. No. Here's the thing: you get a few points. It's kind of like in Scrabble. You're
He
getting
gets
like a
no
point or
point.
two here or there.
He's a Southerner. He doesn't have ghetto cards. He has redneck cards, and they
Actually,
never
there
get
are some
traded.
scary motherfucking ghettos out there in fucking South, dude. You go ahead and go to the dirt roads in New Orleans and tell me there's no ghettos in the South.
That's Creole. That's an entirely different thing.
We're
That's
Cajun. We're Cajun. Oh man, my mom lived in New Orleans, and a black guy fucking broke in her window, right? And she's laying on her bed. He climbs in her window. She reaches over and grabs her big ass machete. And she weighed about 95, 100, and maybe 105 pounds at the time. It was before I was even born. And she fucking chases this motherfucker out with the machete. And as he hits out the window and hits the ground, there's a cop there. And he hides behind the cop. Like, that bitch is crazy. And, I mean, of course he got arrested. But, yeah, I've heard stories about down there. We moved out west when I was 2. But, you know, I still have family in Louisiana, and that's where I'm from, so.
Yeah, no, I was 17 and I ran away from home and I hitchhiked across the country with truck drivers. And the guy I was riding with through New Orleans took a wrong turn and we ended up on a dirt road. And if it hadn't been for the old guy with a cane that was actually a shotgun, we wouldn't have gotten out of there with the truck and our lives. It was.
Oh, I'm not just going to start telling stories though, but in Discord sometime I'll tell you a story about when we broke down and some truckers helped us. It's hilarious. But no, let's get back to the topic.
Sorry.
So, no, it's all good. I went off on a story. It's my fault.
Wait a second. Is there something more than like Article 11 and 13 like in this thing? Because that's all I'm hearing about.
That's the only two that are controversial. The rest is just updating the copyright laws. That's it. Copyrights on music and other stuff like that. Although you could look up the full text if you would like, or maybe I can if my computer will let me. I don't really want to read the whole text of article of that fucking copyright law in the EU. Do you want to read it all?
No, I'm hoping someone else will do it. Oh crap!
That's
and we're back to
exactly
square one.
Why the Europeans will not have a revolution? They will hope that someone else will do it.
Okay, no, you know what? That's a good thing. We kind of segued into that topic anyway. Well, what's going on with Europe at the moment? You see a rise of more or less either a socialist fucking leadership or a very nationalist, almost fascist leadership. Like what was just elected in where was it? Italy or Spain? I don't remember. One of them just had an election and it was what they call far right, which to us would be
there was a more of a rightish folks arising as a coalition government in Italy, I believe, and then there was somewhere else in northeastern Europe. One of the places you technically really wouldn't expect as a coalition rightish wing government.
Well, no, and you also have Poland, who has straight told the EU to suck my cock and fucking walled up their whole fucking territory.
Yeah.
You know, Trump hasn't even built his wall. Poland got it done in 3 months.
Poland's also, Poland's also the size of what, 2 Oregons?
Well, they also may have a slight historical skepticism of German influence.
Basically, the resistance is in Poland and Hungary.
Which is ironic when you think about those countries in the past, huh?
They were they were part of the Eastern Bloc.
But is it ironic
not by choice, but they were.
Well, no, that's absolutely true, Kitty. You're 100% correct. But aren't they pretty much an ethno-nationalist type state to begin with? In Poland, they're mainly Polish.
I would say that they define themselves as Central European. They are not either Eastern or Western Europeans. They are Central Europeans. And but that's in order to separate themselves both from Russia and from the rest of Europe.
Which is completely fair. But what my point is, when it comes to the refugee influx, they have a pretty ethnocentric type system already. So why would they want an influx of people that are going to, knock over the apple cart?
And that's why they are being threatened with consequences in terms of economical consequences because they refuse to accept their quotas.
You know what I think the UK should do, and I wish Voice of One was still here, or God damn it, cabbage. Usually that works.
Wait, he's Beetlejuice?
Yeah, pretty much.
Sometimes.
Thank you for catching that.
I knew it.
You have to say cabbage 3 times in a dark room in front of a mirror.
It explains so many things, doesn't it, Memes?
This is true.
But I mean, I think the UK and Poland, Hungary, maybe even Italy, after this weird fucking uprising they're having politically, maybe they should create their own trade union, not a political union. Do what the EU wanted to do originally. You
mean what they pretended they were actually going to do when they first started, and all the conservatives in America went, "Oh no, look what this is going to turn into." Wow. I'm telling you.
Well, they did. As far as I know, it's basically just a grouping of different trade unions rather than just like a direct election and stuff. You have different interest groups in the EU. It sounds like a lot of folks maybe just are kind of confused and maybe just saying, well, our group wants this, so we'll help you with your stuff. I don't know.
No, Memes, this is where I have to play MC and actually fucking argue with you, dude. No. EU wants a fucking army. You know what that means? They don't want nobody to leave. Believe me, the South knows what it happens when there's an army to protect a union. All right.
Well, but what are all these Eastern European countries going to do against a perceived oppressive force? It's not like they could leave and then like ally with somebody else that might. Oh wait.
Well, instead of 600,000 people, unlike the American Civil War and the 600,000 losses, they're going to have 10, 20 million losses in their own European Civil War.
Well, it's not like there's somebody that might not be a fan of the EU that has a cult of personality following or anything that might be able.
Yeah, Tema, elaborate on Russia.
Oh, you think? Okay, so what's the biggest reason Russia is persona non grata with the EU? Not just because they snub their nose at them. What's the other reason?
The natural gas pipelines and stuff like that. They're selling goods to the EU.
Yeah, but what are they not playing nice with?
The Crimea and the Ukraine.
That's not the real reason.
That's not the real reason. This is extremely fallacious and historically wrong. But let's not go there, because otherwise we will summon cabbage.
No, I was talking about the Russia stopped playing in the same economic circle as the banks that run the EU.
Tema is very close to the truth. Yeah.
I'm simplifying it for everybody.
They will stop using the European banking system.
Yes. So that is probably the biggest reason why Russia is a bad guy right now. Russia has their own money and they are solvent at the moment. That means they can come up with assets to to work with and help and trade with these countries that are going to run away scared from the EU as soon as they do. There is a way for them to run and have somewhere to go. I don't know if that's going to turn out to be a good or a bad idea in terms of how it works for those Eastern European nations.
It's not going to work out well at all. They're going to go back under the umbrella of Russia, and Putin has some,
and Russia actually has a freer economy than we do in a lot of ways. So
the only reason why Poland and Hungary haven't asked for Putin's help so far is because
they haven't.
of their history. They haven't so far.
That's what I'm saying. They haven't.
And,
I don't think Russia compete with the euro. I think Russia's trying to compete with the dollar. That's why they want the world to switch away from the petrodollar. They've been working with China and other nations to make that switch. Right, MC? I want to throw you back into this conversation.
Why do you want me to throw me in the conversation?
Russia suffered huge losses with the petrodollar because they had based their economy on oil. And then the price of oil tanked, and Russian economy tanked together with it.
So did ours.
But Russia has other resources, so they are on a continuous military buildup.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Russia is somebody they can go to because Russia's solvent. Russia's not running the kind of deficit that a lot of the European Union nations are. So they have the resources available. If it gets bad enough, they will go there.
Well,
they have a mutual non-aggression pact and some sort of alliance with China, which is a horrible deal on the long term, because if someone is the aggressor to Russia, China will step into this war. But it's already costing Russia in terms of Russia is building a new railroad passing through another route through Chinese territory. The burden is on Russia. And if a war happens, China most certainly, after it's all over, will claim some territories on the northwesternmost part of Russia.
Okay, the one thing I'm going to say is that signing an agreement with China doesn't really matter. China's going to do whatever they want, whether they sign agreements or not. So,
but China though, they've been isolated in the world for most of their history for a goddamn reason. They're surrounded by mountains on one side, and they're just an isolated country. They have expansionist then that's going to open them up to a counter. And I don't know if China's internal politics will really allow them to try and conquer territory or maybe trigger another war right now. I mean, really, their economy is a hollow economy. They're building these cities.
They built islands.
Yeah, they've built islands. They have empty cities. They have huge empty cities. Like, nobody lives in them. They're just built. They're huge.
I've seen fucking footage of them. Like, why can't can I just immigrate over there and make my own libertarian city? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, except for you'll be living with toxic soil, water, and air.
Not all.
Not all, but a lot.
Yeah, and I don't like roads that much.
It's where the peasants sleep. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Well, none of them are even sleeping there.
Well, no, that's just the mentality of the Chinese government. They don't really.
Asian governments as a whole don't have the same respect for human life as Western society.
This is true.
Well, I have heard there's some problems with some of their sheetrock and stuff. However, what if they're just building these cities and these cities are empty for a future action movie? What if they're literally creating real life kaiju to roam through them and just like make movies?
Maybe they're for the alien overlords that are on their way.
They would still have to compete with the Japanese kaiju. So, what?
That's fair. No. You ain't gonna beat Godzilla. He's king of the monsters for a reason.
Yes.
Okay, so everybody knows these cities are empty, right? So, in case of a war, where do you think they would evacuate their major cities to in case, America was going to bomb them into oblivion? Because that's our favorite.
Started bombing them to oblivion, their entire freaking infrastructure would break down immediately.
What infrastructure?
logistically-
We're going to bomb empty cities? Are you going to waste bombs on empty cities? With
Why would
no
you bomb a
strate-
city? All you have to do is bomb a freaking road, and they're trapped.
And that was my
But
point.
a lot of
China
these
has
cities are only a few miles away from heavily populated areas. It's not like they're going to be going very far.
Well, that's true.
And you don't know if they have a backup plan for evacuation.
I mean, but the first thing is if China went to war with the United States, the first problem China would have is they would begin to quickly run out of food unless they were able to secure another food source. So they'd have to rely upon the food coming from either Latin America or from some European area.
Wait. No, you wait. Latin America, like Venezuela, where they're eating each other. Yeah, that'll fucking work. Maybe they can steal food from Brazil,
Probably Brazil
where
will be
Kenya is.
sending them food, of course.
How?
Yeah.
Your trucks aren't even going down the road. I mean, maybe they fixed that.
Wait.
But you know what I mean? Like, come on. That is absolute at best.
So I missed something. Why are we going to war with China now? Like, where are we going to get our iPhones from?
I don't like iPhone. My wife does. She'll be sad.
Korea. Samsung.
Oh, that's right. We'll have Korea now.
We still have Japan.
No, I say specifically Korea because reunification, baby. It could happen.
I would like to see Korea happen in reunification, but it's not going to happen soon. It may happen over time.
Wait. Hold on.
It's not going to happen tomorrow.
We were talking about war with China. If we were to go to war with China tomorrow, could we not see the reunification of Korea very quickly?
The reunification, extermination, it all could be one.
Oh, you went there. That was horrible.
It is an option on the very broad spectrum. We wish to avoid those options.
What about a rumor that I cannot confirm in any way, shape, or form? It's just a rumor that Russia is building underground cities.
Wait, they're dwarves? See, before I found out I was Scottish, I thought that's where I got my ruddy beard from.
From the Dwarven kingdoms?
Oh, from my Russian ancestry, but sure, I prefer the whatever.
Yeah. So basically, your rustic beard, you think somehow you didn't get it from like the Scandinavians?
Maybe the Scandinavians live underground. Maybe that's our missing link.
Maybe.
So you have fur on your foot too, right? You're like a hobbit.
Well, they're not. No, they're dwarf feet. They're not as hairy as hobbit feet.
Ah, okay.
To be fair, I'm not a Tolkien podiatrist, so.
You're not a Tolkien podiatrist?
Negative.
Okay. But no, what I was talking about when I said that about Korea, I'm saying if we went to war with China, all right, Korea would not be unaffected, and I can see it going up in a big way. All right, and I can see China easily, all right, basically flattening the entire area so there's nothing left. So they remove a threat. That's what I was referring to.
But isn't that why Kim Jong-un had his nuclear weapons program that on our side we may wish him to use if them and our allies are going to get annihilated?
I mean, if they're going to go from that standpoint and use nuclear weapons, all bets are off anyway. Once a nuclear weapon will get used in that kind of a thing, it's going to be ICBMs and it's all over anyway.
Well,
and that's why we avoid that plan.
Well, no, I want to go back to the EU because that's really the topic of today. I mean, you do have this pushback from certain countries. If Russia tries to make overtures towards them, and Germany under Merkel creates the EU army, don't you think there might be a flashpoint with Germany and Russia?
Especially when we're promising to feed both sides and funnel weapons to both sides. Yeah, I can see a flashpoint happening there.
Well, no.
In this case, I can see that Poland and Hungary will not remain neutral for long. They will have to choose a side. because they will be right in the middle.
And I'm not so sure they would choose the side of Germany.
Me neither. Despite what history taught them, they will probably choose the western side. The eastern, sorry,
yeah. I think that they would, because Germany's not going down the western the western pathway right now. They're taking the German pathway. They're on the move. They're on the march again.
Oh,
they're shining their boots up.
Oh,
well,
God.
No, I don't want to read too much into that, MC, but do you think, I've said this multiple times on our show, I believe that Germany has won through peace what they lost through war. Do you think Merkel believes that as well? And how much will she fight to hold on to what they've won?
It isn't going to be, it won't happen with Merkel. This is going to take a lot longer than that. It really will.
She's paving the road.
She's paving the road for the next person. But yeah, it won't be Merkel. It won't be in the next 5 years.
Well, that's why I asked who owns the copyright to a lot of that World War II footage.
Yeah, I told you, you can claim a chunk of it. Even your ancestry claim a chunk
The
of it.
memes would be so mean, though.
Does that surprise you?
No, but do the ends justify the memes?
No, I wonder.
Always cats.
I kind of wonder if before World War II, right when fucking what's his name, fucking started with a C, not Churchill, the other fucking douchebag. The guy that made the deal, peace in our time, with Hitler. Do you think he thought maybe this war wouldn't happen for another 5 or 6 years? Because, I mean, look at the ramp up all over, even the NATO countries. What happened with Erdogan's election in Turkey? He's gaining more power. He's taking more constitutional rights away. The military is no longer there to do a coup and correct the situation. They're going full fucking Muslim.
Okay, and
what? This is the same buildup you have seen in the past.
Possibly.
I don't know, man.
Well, you want us to get involved? How do you want to? What do you want to? What do you want us to do right now? You want the U.S. involved?
Do I ever want the U.S. involved?
Okay, so then, hey, look, you guys are screwed. what a churro!
Leave NATO. I want us to crash out and be done with the whole fucking kit and caboodle. Fuck off.
Back to isolationist America. That always works. That worked really well in World War I.
How big is our military? Can anybody really fuck with us, though? This is not the same stage as World War I.
You're trying to pare the military down to nothing, and you're complaining, saying, "Oh, wait a minute, but we're really powerful."
Did I say build them down? I said bring them home. Didn't say you had to eliminate the whole damn thing. I said bring them home.
Where are you going to stick them?
We have lots of territories.
If I was going to do it, it'd be 5 miles inside of Mexico.
We could use some school resource officers, maybe.
5 miles inside of Mexico. We'll stop it that way. It'll be a human wall on the Mexican side.
If we made it into a giant slip and slide.
Okay, do you want to pivot, MC? We could pivot to the southern border and the whole situation going on.
You need the Trebu state.
What?
The Trebu state. Accelerate and Tom P. from Pinoy News have created a solution where we put thousands and thousands of trebuchets around the border of the country, north and south, and we just fling everybody over that we don't want. It's the Trebu state.
What if we flung Skittles and Starburst instead?
They just get fat.
Okay.
Then we have fat people crossing the border.
Real quick, Tigerson, homie in the chat for the win. Neville Chamberlain is the name I was thinking of. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I see the same escalation. Do I want the United States involved? Absolutely not. But if we want to be, I don't know, practical, we're already involved. We have the NATO alliance. We have troops in the area. I mean, if anybody was going to put a stop to this horse shit, it could be us, and it could be us right now.
That's right.
What's our justification for involvement?
Who will support this?
Okay. Doesn't Germany have a mandate against creating an army?
If the president declares martial law, he still depends on the Congress supporting him. And the Congress is not very supporting of the president.
To be fair, I hate saying this, but the most effective weapon against this without resorting to bloodshed, it really probably is like a meme war. Because something you can meme the hell out of. Like, it's so easy and it'll be mean, but I like the comparisons that one can draw using historical context are terrifying.
Well, but the problem is you have a whole lot of people that are no longer using critical thinking. They're using critical theory. So it doesn't matter what's happened in history. We get to follow Einstein's definition of insanity now.
Well, it's all relative, bruh.
Yeah, it's all relative except for the people that are laying there dead.
The ignorant argument that people use, but it has never been tried.
But it has been tried. That's what I'm saying. That's critical theory as opposed to critical thinking.
Well, yeah, we're all more similar.
People don't have the historical perspective.
Well, all they need to know are Nazis are bad. And if you're comparing folks to Nazis and you cite some historical, or you won't even be able to cite something words, then folks will be like, oh, they're doing something similar to Nazis. Nazis are bad. So you're going to get from calling folks from all of these different types of groups Nazis. So at one point, everyone's just going to be Nazis.
Which is hilarious if you know my background.
Well, things tend to come full circle. It's fucked up.
You keep saying you're Jewish. I'm Gypsy. So I'm a Nazi too now, I guess. Or
well, to be fair, I do like gypsies. Or at least Romanians.
I'm an anti-communist Russian, so yeah.
Oh well, I'm Russian too, and Russians. Wait a second, I thought you. Oh, migration! Yay!
I live in Brazil, but I'm Russian.
Yeah. Oh. All right.
She's a spy.
She's dangerous. Everybody run.
Oh, no. Yes, because we know that all Russian ladies are spies.
You're a fucking bot, man.
If James Bond.
It's not the first time that someone says that I'm the Russian spy in the room.
It's always got to be Marie.
Election, man.
And who was it that stood up there and called her a Russian spy? Who went there to start the Red Scare? The lefty of the group.
Wait, what?
Who? I thought I liked it. I don't want to make that joke, damn it. Gosh darn it. I don't know. Is libertarian leftist? No. I mean, our fiscal policy, absolutely not.
All right. I'm gonna make a freaking chart. I've been driven to this now because I remember I remember they did the whole horseshoe theory thing. They're trying to explain that.
Libertarians don't exist on that horseshoe anywhere.
And then Styx did his prism thing, and I kind of tried to watch it, but I didn't really quite get where he was coming from. So it's like circles are round. Ish. People understand simple things, so I'm gonna do my own thing.
Circles around, yes. You did learn something in school.
Yes.
Not in 1984, but you did learn something.
Hey, nobody's perfect. I was born in the year. Maybe that counts for something. But all I'm saying is I'm taking an extremely low resolution view of things.
Picture this.
Yeah, I'm going full 144p. Maybe even lower.
Oh, sorry. My daughter's just a butthead. She came over and made me dip her like 5 times. She's only 2. She just makes me lean her back and dip her.
Did you see my 6-year-old try to come in screen? I had to push her.
Oh, no. I stepped away from that. Yeah, that's why I don't have a camera on. You would see all the kids running up.
Yeah. You don't say no to your 2-year-old daughter.
There are times you say no.
well, not when she's going to harm herself or someone else.
No, to be fair, my wife says that I spoil her. Maybe I do. I don't know. Okay, I probably do. Anyway,
I don't
moving
spoil
on.
my kids. I'm mean.
I mean, you, but that's my little princess. Leave her alone.
Oh, see, I'm
No.
harder on my favorite.
You patriarch, you.
Me?
Oh,
I'm
I'm talking
harder.
about
No, me.
No, I'm harder on my
Yeah.
favorite because I have a greater expectation of her.
Well, he's the benevolent king. You're the tyrannical mother in this instance.
She's dealing with the daughter. He's dealing with.
I'm
the
sorry, that was a
Yeah, I'm
terrible.
dealing with
I
you.
apologize.
Fathers are
Oh
always.
no,
I should have said
yeah, I'm
tyrannical
fine.
king.
I'm good.
Because she's not the Han, she's the Ming of Mong.
Well, I'm the Hun. I'm the conqueror with my horde of girls.
Benevolent
Nothing
dictator.
scarier than an angry mom.
Of nothing scarier than an angry mob of girls,
Mm.
and that's what I have.
Well, it's not scary if they're wearing pussy hats. Just saying.
Yeah, not mine. Mine are wielding weapons because they're all German, but like
Well,
Hessian style German,
No,
not
no.
modern German.
No, here's the thing. I'm gonna take a contrary point. I'm gonna say angry mom is the scariest thing to dudes.
Oh, probably, yeah. I could be terrifying if I wanted to be.
Because I've seen some pretty big dudes. All of a sudden, their little maw comes out, and dude, they're so terrified, dude. It's just, I think it's an instinctual thing.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's yeah.
No, they beat his ass all the time when he was a kid, and he still hasn't gotten over it. It doesn't matter that he's 6'5", fucking 250 pounds of muscle. He's like, oh shit, my mom's gonna whoop my ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay. Anything else on Article 13 or MC? I did see you posted something else in the side chat. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
No, I'm good. I mean, we've been going for a couple hours now, so.
All right. Well,
it's
then
it's getting towards supper time, so I got to get ready to go. So.
Yeah, I gotta go to
All
the
right.
store.
Any last thoughts, guys, and then we'll wrap her up.
Don't ban me,
Okay.
bro.
Don't ban me, bro. I like turtles. No, if you guys are what taxation is theft. If you guys are
Don't
interested
feed the
in something
meme.
completely unrelated, I will
I
probably
like
be
food.
doing an after-hours stream tonight. So, like food.
Don't feed the memes. That'll be my last word for today.
Well, I think Article 13 and Article 11 are total travesties, and anybody that hears my voice from the European Union should call whoever they need to call and get it fucking stopped. This has been the Redeye Stream number 134. Good night. And EU, good fucking luck, guys.